I'm Mayor Diane Marlin. Welcome, everybody. I wanted to let you know we have 3 meetings tonight. The first will be a public hearing on the proposed budget for fiscal year 22. The second meeting is a special meeting of the Urbana City Council to consider appointments to a board and commission, and that will be followed by the regular committee of the whole meeting chaired by Ward 3 Councilperson Sharice Hersey. So we'll start with the public hearing on the proposed budget. Notice is hereby given that the proposed annual budget for the city of Urbana in the county of Champaign, state of Illinois, for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021 and ending June 30th, 22 is on file. The hearing will begin at 7 p.m. on Monday, June 7th, 2021. Estimated revenues for the proposed budget for fiscal year 2021-22 are $53.4 million, and estimated expenditures are $58.7 million. I'd like to call this hearing to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu?
Here.
Mr. Evans?
Here.
Ms. Hersey?
Here.
Ms. Colasetti?
Here.
Ms. Bishop?
Here.
Ms. Wilkins?
Here.
Mr. Quisenberry?
Here.
Mayor Marlin?
Here. Next item on the agenda is public input on the proposed fiscal year 22 budget. If you'd like to provide input, please raise your hand and I'll call on you. First up is Alan Max Axelrod.
Thank you. My audio setup's a little wonky. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. And could you put up the clock, please? Much appreciated. I'm ready to start when you are.
Go ahead, Alan.
All right. My name is Alan Max Axelrod. I am a co-chair of the Champaign-Urbana DSA. I'm showing up tonight to basically express what our membership has voted to endorse, and I hope that we'll be hearing from additional members shortly. We would like the city of Urbana to answer the call that was announced by Eddie Pratt at the Champaign City Council meeting not too long ago to match the $1 million in funding that the Black Legislative Caucus has provided to Parkland for the short-term workforce training program. This is a program that in the span of 1 year, while covering the tuition and fees, just like graduate employees at the university, right? Plus a potential stipend, will be able to get jobs starting at $50,000 a year. That is well above the median individual income of both Champaign and Urbana. This is a direct investment in our community. And as other speakers will undoubtedly note, this is a way to curb the violence that poverty incentivizes people to resort to survive. I also want to note on a personal level that I'm a little bit shocked that after the discussions that we had in the winter of 2019 about how it was a one-time payment of $300,000 for our school resource officers, that it is not a one-time payment. I understand that the school district is having some budgetary issues, as a lot of people have talked about, and I hope that they sunset that. But I want us to think seriously about what we are doing with our money. That could go to First Followers. That could go to Courage Connection, where we have a large number of phone calls that are for domestic violence. That should be what investing in our community looks like. And as I understand it, there's going to be a lot of speakers tonight, so I'm going to sign off early. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Bianca Nehan.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Yes, hi. Can I have the timer up as well, please? Thank you. I'm also the other co-chair of DSA, Democratic Socialists of America. I'm also a 4-year resident in Urbana. I just wanted to echo Alan's sentiments, especially regarding the opportunities that the SWIFT program would allow the people in this community to have access to not only better education, but the ability to avoid potentially traumatic or violent situations, and particularly in regards to domestic violence. As we know that a lot of the reasons why women or people in lower economic situations are more prone to be in these particular situations is because of their lack of access to economic alternatives and their lack of ability to find these alternatives in order to protect themselves and their family and their loved ones. So if we can have that opportunity expanded, particularly in these communities where people of color are primarily the victims of not only these issues, but also they allow them to have the opportunities that they can help themselves and just take care of themselves and make a living wage that's respectable to them for them. Also want to echo the sentiments of matching the $1 million amount. I believe with the amount that we currently have, we have the ability to fund 300 people in order to follow through with this program. So if we could up that amount, I mean, I think that would be very helpful for us. And it will help a lot of people in the community that need it the most. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Eddie Pratt Jr.
Hi, am I coming through clearly?
Yes, you are.
Great. Hi, I am Eddie Pratt Jr. I am the creator of the CU Human Rights Coalition. I am a member of the CU DSA. I am in solidarity with First Followers. As you've already heard tonight, and as you will hear after me and all of the rest of the people see something here, something that can be extremely helpful when we're talking about things as equity, justice, when we're talking about wage inequality, when we're talking about mental health, when we're talking about theft crimes. It all leads back to the lack of access, the lack of ability to have a job that pays a living wage. People don't commit crimes for the most part out of sheer boredom. They do it because they're pressed against the wall. They do it because they have responsibilities that they must provide for, and they don't have the normal means to do so. This builds stress. That stress, the anxiety, can become traumatic, as we have all experienced here lately. Tonight, I'm asking you, whose keeper are you? Tonight, I am asking you to commit to matching $1 million. Collaborate with the city of Champaign to both match $1 million into the SWIFT program. We all know that there's more than 300 people out here that need this. If we're going to attack the equation of what brings community violence into our community, which is desperation meets lack of opportunity or lack of alternatives, if we're not attacking those very things, we will not stand a chance at righting the ship. So I look forward to your commitment to being your brother's keeper, to being your sister's keeper, to being a good neighbor, to showing the country what equity looks like in the community, to give the power to the people to build their community on their own terms by being a supportive role in it. Is that not what you all are here for? It is my hope that that is exactly what you're here for. And I hope and look forward to seeing you use these ARP funds to fund programs like the ones at First Followers or at CU Trauma and Resilience, among other community members and community organizations like Hidden Homeboy, be it CCR, or anyone else who is around here doing positive things for the community. I'm sure these things are not unknown to you all by now. Today is about doing something different. Today is about being done with regressive policy and reactive action. Today is about committing to the future. Today is about investing in people, directly into the community. You can do this. Decide who you want to be remembered as. Someone who upheld this same system that begets all these tragedies that we all swear we're so sad about, or someone that fought for a better future for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Next speaker, Thomas Lawless.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm here. I'm a member of the CUDSA. I'd also just kind of like to echo what other members of the CUDSA are calling for, which is additional funding for the SWIFT program. We'd like both Champaign and Urbana to put together about $1 million each for the program. I just want to say I'm tired of solutions that have failed our communities and brutalized our neighbors and my friends. I'm sick of just waking up and thinking like, oh, is today going to be the day I have another mental health crisis? Is today the day I'm going to be another statistic? And I would just like to see the lifeline that I've been provided and allowed to. I haven't graduated from the SWIFT program, but I've been provided a similar lifeline, and just that ability to provide that to the community is something I feel deeply about and would like the City Council to consider. I know that I have much more to say than that, but yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Julie Watkins.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I am speaking tonight to echo previous City Council public comments and here tonight in support for housing, jobs, youth, and less for UPD or SROs. There's concern about SROs. There's concern about many programs. There have already been lots of training and studies about SROs. My concerns are, will it be effective? Public input hasn't been asking for SROs and training. It's been asking for help and accountability. Putting money toward school resource offices, you hope it will help. Both training and I think another thing that you fund is spending to increase revenue. Both of these are hopes. On the other hand, emergency housing, rent help, job help, that's a guaranteed help, at least for a while. I know there are certain rules and conditions, maybe HUD or whoever, we need to research and push certain, we need to push when policies need to be changed. The No Shutoffs group is pushing about policies. Policies can be changed and revised. Policies should be revised when agreed goals aren't being met. So that's all for this hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is James Corbin.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yes, okay. Yes, thank you for allowing me to speak. Yes, my name is James Corbin. I usually go by Tiger, which is transform your goals in reality when I speak under motivation and get these young guys moving. Uh, I have been speaking here at this council meeting several times, and I just like to echo a lot of the words of Eddie Pratt, his group. I think that's a great idea, as well as uh, other things that we have been speaking on, such as the center to curb some of this violence. Just this weekend, we had lost another young man, 17, and the loss of life, it continues. And it's affecting more than just the community, it's affecting the people who serve the community, such as our law enforcement. And we got to understand, we can't arrest our way out of this. That does not work. I have been in courtrooms and I just heard some of the silliest things about judges who give these guys long sentences to say something like, well, we're going to send a message. Well, guess what? Your message is not being received because you are dealing with individuals who lack, or not lack for it, but are dealing with more of a reactive thinking instead of a proactive thinking. If it was a proactive thinker involved, such as someone who says, well, I'm going to be a doctor or a lawyer, that individual is not out there like that. But these other individuals, like you said, a lack of these skill sets that could be trained through the SWIFT program, a lack of life skills, all these things can be put in their leadership. And that teaches a person, instead of being reactive, you could be proactive toward your situation. This is why we need those funds to go toward a center that will do wraparound service, that will have training, that will have individuals in there that could teach these leadership qualities. We want to develop more of what's called near peers, individuals that's close to that age group that could curve this around. We can't be at every moment, and we can't identify who's going to go off next. Who's under pressure to where they have to pick up a gun or feel like that. And most of these individuals that's picking up that gun or have a gun feel like they can't even go to law enforcement. So they feel they have to take the law into their own hands. But we have to change that sentiment, that thinking, that bringing in these centers, teacher leadership development, teacher skill sets such as that, going through the SWIFT program, paying them get this other training, bringing them into a better way of thinking. We're gonna have to get ahead of it. We see all these, this is an epidemic nationwide. We see violence is on the rise in every city. This is no accident. This is all happening because these communities are underserved, and now it's showing. And all of a sudden, I saw it was I'm not gonna say who, but they get on there and they please put down the guns. That's just as silly as that commercial that used to come on. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. Get the message. No, they don't get the message. That don't work. You can't spin your way out of this way. We're gonna have to get ahead of it. We're gonna have to get into preventive measures that address these issues directly, and that what Eddie Pratt is offering, where our group is now meeting and putting proposals together, is offering a preventive measure. Before we get there, we're gonna have to move fast because we're losing babies out here. Um, I just watched what 10-year-old boy got shot on the porch in Chicago, and it's sad, man. It don't have to be this way. That's all I gotta say. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Albert Lamb.
Hi, my name is Albert Lamb. I live on 208 East California Avenue, which was recently purchased by Cunningham Township. On May 7th, a letter was posted on my front door informing me of the sale of the property and the options I had as a renter. Essentially, I was told that I needed to move out by August 15th. I spent the next 2 weeks searching for housing and I was hoping to find something that would be suitable and affordable for my situation as a student. On May 18th, I contacted Cunningham Township to let them know that I was unable to find such housing and to see if there were other options available. I contacted them again on May 25th and on June 1st. On June 1st, I finally received an email from Danielle Chinoweth saying the following, quote, "It is clear that finding affordable options, even with a 3-month time frame, is proving difficult for some. That feedback is useful as we collaborate on a solution. Both parties, tenants and township, have found themselves in an unexpected and difficult situation created by a lack of transparency by the former owners. We are committed to ensuring current tenants are taken care of, so we are trying to recalibrate plans on our end as well. We will be in touch soon." Today, on June 7th, I received a follow-up email from Danielle that essentially said the same thing and gave me the same options as the letter that was posted on my door on May 7th. If my options would be the same, I could have been told this a month ago so that I could at least have time to make a plan to deal with a less than ideal situation. Also, I'm originally from California and have not been able to visit my mom and brother in a year and a half because of the pandemic. I was hoping to visit them after the end of the spring semester, now that I have been vaccinated, but stayed in Champaign so that I could spend time searching for housing. The continued uncertainty with the housing situation is preventing me from making concrete plans to see them. I find this whole situation to be really confusing and upsetting, especially since it seems to contradict the mission statement of the organization of which you are board members of. I hope you will look into the matter so that the noble cause of Cunningham Township can be upheld. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Janice Walker.
Good evening, members of the council. Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Janice Walker and I reside in Urbana's Dr. Ellis subdivision. I'm a volunteer fellow and survivor lead with Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. And I'm also part of a coalition that includes First Followers, See You Try, the Business Elevator, Bethel AME Church, faculty from Parkland College, Champaign PTA members, the NAACP, and other community members who are trying to prevent community violence. Gun violence in particular, by intentionally addressing harm, healing, and hope. So we're calling our coalition the 3H Coalition. When I say I'm a survivor of gun violence, it means I've loved and I still love family and friends who have been taken by gun violence. My brother was killed in 2010 and my cousin was killed in 2020. I've chosen to take my personal pain and turn it into purpose. Most recently, our community has suffered great tragedy from gun violence. Members who have been taken and or injured are Quincy Markham, Tavion Jones Primo, Marquise Lafayette, Leandria Thompson, and Officer Christopher Oberheim. And if I've missed someone, I apologize. The 3H Coalition is asking for a specific amount of money from the American Rescue Plan funds to address community violence prevention. There are 4 reasons why. Since the pandemic, CU has seen a rise in violence just like the rest of the nation has. Gun violence is an issue of racial justice. In our county, the vast majority of those involved in gun violence are young Black men. Gun violence impacts not just individuals involved, but their family members and community members. Our county lacks programs and services to prevent community violence. What has been tried so far is not working. We need supports and service programs for those who have been impacted. This means mental health, housing support, safe spaces for people to meet, training for community support workers, opportunities for career paths with paid training for young people connected with violence, and programs that offer recreation and artistic outlets. We need to have these centers and services based in a local community center, a one-stop shop, if you will, with satellite centers throughout the county. We are prepared to come before you with a fully developed plan for your consideration. Please listen to the community's outcry. The great representative John Lewis said, when you see something that's not right, not fair, not just, you have to speak up. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker is Linda Turnbull.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello? Okay, anyway. My name is Linda Turnbull. I wear many hats in this city. I'm coming to speak from my heart, just not to be speaking, the talking, the protest, talking about what other people can and cannot do. Because as long as everybody's doing something, no matter what it is, we can all come together as one. I experienced gun violence from a very young age. My sister was shot with a sawed-off shotgun in front of her kids. My mother took care of her children. Not only that, my nephew was killed 5 years ago and have not even found the person that done it. I have many friends been killed in the city. I know about gun violence. I've experienced it. I experienced it myself for many years, dealing with my sister's death. So I don't speak a whole lot about it because it was very, my family and the rest of my siblings. But what I do see is all this talking and nothing's done. None of this stuff has worked. I was just here at the shooting on Beardsley, where I live at. I think it's been 3 young men killed down there by Beardsley and 5th. Not only that, I've talked to many people in Champaign and Urbana, and they agree with what I say, even though some people might not agree. I have a lot of people that agree that we will have to put lights and cameras up in the African Americans neighborhoods. We need the lights and cameras. Cameras are not afraid to talk. They don't feel intimidated. I was just out there, a day ago, and heard a young man on his porch, and I know he had to see the killing. He told the reporter, I am not getting involved in this because I'm not gonna they come back and shoot me. You know what? Mostly everybody in this town is saying that. Around the whole corner, everywhere. I talk to many people. I've registered over 5,000 people to vote in this city and even more. So not only me just talking, this is something that's been put on me for a long time. It's been a lot of leaders around here like Terry Thompson, people like that. Nobody's bringing those people, those big activists to the table. You need to be getting out there, bringing activists in this city. He's the biggest activist in this city, Terry Thompson. I've never seen him at any. I've seen him at one engagement. I see people not even invited in places, people that do a lot of work in this community. I'm not talking about cherry pick people because you just know them to be an activist. I'm talking about real life activists in our city that's been an activist for many and many years. Hallelujah. So we need to bring these people to the table. We need to find how to solve this stuff. And just like everybody want to give a program here, a program there, all these programs, these people are still shooting. These are young people, they don't care. They don't have any heart about what they're doing. They're just going out here waiting for the next one to pop off. So I'm gonna tell you right now, and my strong feeling is, if I have to get a petition signed for people saying this, we gotta put some cameras up around here. These cameras will get footage of these people that's committing this crime. they don't have to be scared like the rest of these people not to talk, because a lot of people know who's been doing this stuff. When my nephew got killed, it was 40 people in that place, 40 people, and not one person know nothing. Hallelujah. Yes, they do. So we need cameras. Nobody's mentioned cameras. I've not heard anybody mention cameras. I never heard anybody with surveillance. We need them. I don't care if you get drones. You need something. And if you need me to go and try to raise money for you to help you, I will do that. Just ask me and I'll do it. I'll do it anyway. Find some way to get some cameras around in these African-American neighborhoods. More and more people, kids are getting killed, family members and everybody else. These programs have not worked. Hallelujah. We need those cameras to show them faces and lock these people up. So hallelujah. I don't care who doesn't like what I'm saying. I'm just saying this because this has gotten really bad out here. And all this money given to folks, we had don't shoot, all this other stuff, still shooting. Hallelujah. Yes, I wore a shirt around saying, put the guns down. I just put that on to put it there to say it. Hallelujah. But I'm not saying that's going to do anything, but we got to get something done here. All this talking and giving money away, we need those cameras. And we need people watching.
Ms. Turnbull, Ms. Turnbull, your time's up, but thank you very much.
Okay, hallelujah. I hope y'all got some of that in you because I'm really, okay.
We heard you. Thank you. Next up is Arthur Paganini.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. So my name is Arthur Paganini. I'm here representing PSL from Champaign-Urbana. I'm a resident of Ward 4, and I'm here to support people who've been speaking about like what this community needs in terms of investment in the community. And specifically, I want to support what Eddie Pratt Jr. said about the SWIFT program. So what we have here, in my opinion, is a unique opportunity for positive systemic change, like within this community. And like I know that the word systemic change have become kind of a buzzword in politics recently, but it sounds like no one knows what that means or what we actually need to do about it. And in my opinion, education is the best form of systemic change or the best way to start systemic change. As a student myself, I know what kinds of doors education opens for me, and not just for me, but for my future family, anyone that benefits from me having that education. And I think, and what a lot of people think, rightly so, is that what the community needs is investment in them, not against them. I was at the city council meeting 2 weeks ago when you guys were talking about the budget, and you guys patted yourselves on the back for the city's sound financial condition. And that's great. Like, I'm happy and I'm glad that you're all doing your jobs well. But I think it's time to put that money back into the community and not into more police, more SROs. I'm just wondering what that's going to help. What is that going to do for the community? I think honestly, it's time for the money that Urbana City Council or the Urbana government made last year and put it back into the community that got that money to you in the first place. I think the best way to do this is to fund the SWIFT program, match that $1 million. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker is Brandy.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Brandy. I'm an Urbana resident. First off, I want to thank the majority of the Urbana aldermen who signed on to the letter to legislators to lift the ban on rent control. While the letter did not have the desired result, it helped show legislators that the ban on rent control is more than a metropolitan issue. Now, last year, to get to the meat, last year we allocated the police department $11.4 million, which was 32.7% of our operating fund. Of that, based on the proposed budget, 8.7 million of that was actually dispersed, which is 3% less than budgeted. So this year we're proposing to give a total of 12.1 million. If they didn't need the full 11 million we budgeted last year, why do we need 12 million this year? I understand our operating fund expenditures are higher this year, so that does amount to a lesser percentage of the total operating fund, but in dollars and cents, we're providing more measurable resources to police. I'm confused. We don't have an overnight shelter in Urbana. There are people sleeping in the streets with nowhere to turn. We can spend the money elsewhere. I mean, I feel like that's kind of the consensus here. You might think of gun violence as a reason we need police in our communities, but the gun violence continues with the police in our communities. So how long do we give them till we acknowledge that they aren't treating the root cause of crime? Defund the police, they aren't the answer. We need to do everything in our power to help those who need it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Nico Johnson Fuller.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Nico. I'm a student at UIUC, and I'm the co-chair of the Young DSA group at UIUC. And I just wanted to echo what other people have been saying about additional funding for the SWIFT program, matching that 1 million from Urbana and Champaign, and continue the discussion about how the real solutions can be met or can be brought forward. And these solutions involve investing in the community and investing in programs like the SWIFT program rather than investing in carceral solutions, which put more people in jail or arrest more people, but don't fundamentally change and prevent the crime and other gun violence and other things which are harming the community. And I've, from my own experience and those I know, I know seeing the impact of poverty, and know that programs like the SWIFT program are a great way to help people find more stability and in many ways strengthen the community. And I would encourage you to invest more in programs like these. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Tracy Chong.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Tracy Chong. My comment after seeing the budget is that without focusing on efficacy and the city's general attitude on accountability, spending additional money in certain areas such as police training and equity training does not guarantee any improvement. In fact, it might actually make things worse. A specific example would be the $25,000 suggested for the Human Rights and Equity Officers training. I would suggest that before any money is thrown at solving problems, the city take a look at its actions. For example, after the job discrimination hearing, House City Administrator Carol Mitten basically vetoed the board's decision. Or how at the CPRB meeting where Carol Mitten did not allow members to vote again for a taser review case, even though nearly all of the evidence was suppressed by the Urbana Police Department during the original review. And in the last CPRB meeting, Carol Mitten decided not to accept the police complaint. She said that as acting human rights and equity officer, it was her right to make that decision, even if she were to move forward without the backing of CPRB members. She will argue that the complaint should be denied because it was late. But I urge you all to please review the meeting recording and hear the point of residents to why her decision was a step backward in rebuilding public trust in the police review process and trust in the police itself. With this type of mindset from one of the top city leaders, will $25,000 of training for the newly appointed HRE will change anything? Please think about it. Another example is the proposed $35,000 of the coming fiscal year's budget, which is proposed to be allocated to additional training in the police department related to de-escalation and crisis intervention strategies. Again, will this work? Is this for more training from the Police Training Institute led by Michael Schlossler? As history has shown us, training at the PTI does not seem very effective. According to Mr. Schlosser, in a presentation and discussion, he claimed with pride how he trains at the Police Training Institute and describes how impressed others are with the training. When discussing police excessive force and police violence, he denied that these things happen in our town, as our trainees are so well trained in de-escalation. So he's either so out of touch, refuses to see the truth, or is just lying to promote the good image of the police? How is spending that much money on training going to help if the leader of the Police Training Institute has that kind of posture? What we actually need is accountability. Accountability when police leadership like Deputy Chief Searles lies to CPRB to suppress evidence. When we see police officers using racist and sexist language. When police officers mock the public for being concerned. When police officers lie on reports and do not follow policies and ordinances. This is where we need accountability. You have received plenty of input from other residents on how money can be used to help the people, how to actually invest in the community, and as well as ideas how to seed systemic change. So with close to $60,000 of taxpayer money proposed to be allocated for training, police training, maybe we should take a step back and think critically. Decide if the proposed allocated funds is just money going down the drain, especially if city leadership does not change its posture on accountability. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to participate in this hearing? Please raise your hand. Okay, I'm not seeing any hands.
Do we have any time for a question?
This is to get input on, this is the public hearing part of the budget. So the questions would be in the discussion next week or in the discussion next week on the budget. Seeing no further input in this hearing.
You do, someone just raised their hand, Mayor.
Oh, they did? Okay, thank you. Catherine Majewski.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I just wanted to, I guess, quickly also chime in and express my support for the $1 million of funding for the SWIFT program. I do think that this is a useful way for the community to invest in proactive solutions rather than reactively trying to respond social issues that have been created by a lack of investment in the community's well-being. I also wanted to mirror Tracy's input on police funding and express my concerns about, let me find it here, the still allocating the officer to intervene in behavioral crises. I do not believe that police officers are necessary or safe under these circumstances. I think there is substantial evidence that they tend to escalate the situation. I will go ahead and pass off. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, does anyone else wish to participate in this hearing? Okay, well, at this point, I will declare this hearing closed and we will adjourn.